iRadical, we build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4,
We create champions. We make racers.
From the majestic landscapes of Canada to the heart-pounding thrill of competition, welcome to the BiS Radical Cup Canada. It's a brand new season, and with it comes a fresh wave of fierce competitors, all with one goal in mind: to claim the ultimate prize, a real-life radical experience. Last season, we saw champions rise in unforgettable battles. Pro champion Ozzy Milwain and AM champion Zach Buchanan took the checkered flag and earned their spot behind the wheel of a Radical SR3 at the Motorsport Driver Centre. Now, the stage is set for new heroes to emerge and familiar faces to return, each driven by the dream of living that same exhilarating reality. The engines are roaring, the stakes are high. Get ready for another electrifying chapter in the BiS Radical Cup Canada. Hello everyone, welcome to Pit Road Productions. I'm Reese Gardner. This is a fantastic opportunity to bring this series to you. I'm alongside Mike Braun in the broadcast booth here with Christian Hill producing behind the scenes. Before we get into the action for tonight, let's hear a bit from our sponsors. If you're ready to elevate your racing experience, join the M-Zone Radical Cup Canada, where the thrill of the track meets the camaraderie of a true motorsport community. All you got to do is contact Robert Burgess, robert@radicalcanada.ca, to get yourself started. Also brought by FEL Motorsports. Make sure to check them out and lend your support. Fantastic to see them supporting this league as well. And of course, M-Zone. Visit mzone.ca for all your further details. And of course, if you want to be part of the action, the Radical Cup Canada is not the only series that BiS runs. We've got the Formula 1600 League as well. Just get out your phone, scan that QR code, and join the Discord, join the chat. There's an awful lot of fantastic racing that goes on here every single year at BiS. Well, we are racing at Sebring, Mike. This is an absolutely fantastic track. I'm really looking forward to the racing here tonight. Let's take a closer look at the layout that our 50 identical radicals will be tackling today. Sebring is a 3.74 mile monster, famous for its relentless bumps and complex corners. From the high-speed sweep of turn 1 to the tricky braking zones of the hairpin, and through the infamous sunset bend, this track is a true test of skill and bravery. It's no wonder that names like Haynes, Milwain, Buchanan, and Hardman have all conquered this circuit in past races. Today, the challenge is as fierce as ever. Will one of our seasoned veterans add another victory to their tally, or will a new face rise to the occasion? It's all to play for here at Sebring, and the stakes couldn't be higher as the drivers chase that coveted grand prize of the real-life Radical experience. The engines are ready, the grid is set. Let's go racing, Mike.
I'm excited to see this. This is going to be truly a fantastic race here at Sebring. Like you said, truly iconic track with 3.7 miles. I mean, the iconic turn to Sunset Bend after Ullman Straight. I mean, seeing these guys, so many cars are going to be flying down that back straightaway into that final turn and running up the front straight. It is going to be a truly fantastic race. Qualifying is going to be 15 minutes open. And then we're going to have sprint races, 15 minutes each. No stops are required. That feature race is going to be 30 minutes long with one mandatory fuel stop. Then we invert that top 10. So this is going to be fantastic racing. I am truly excited here, Reese, to get this going.
Yeah, indeed. This two-race format has certainly shown itself to be a fantastic format, especially for races like this with these drivers starting at the front. Rasim Fazui, that's a name I haven't seen in a while. He's going to be starting on pole alongside the number 17 of Matt Adams. Then we go to Clay Morris and Connor Bell in third and fourth, with Zach Buchanan in fifth place starting alongside Jamie Lavale, with Ozzy Milwain and George Griffiths starting in 7th and 8th. Jonathan Wager, the champion of the BiS IndyCar Series earlier in the year, is going to start in 9th spot, starting alongside Cade Middleton. At least Wager did very well in the series. It's still quite early in the morning for me. I'm pretty sure he was high up in the championship standings. Joey Haynes is going to start in 11th alongside Mitchell Green. And then Matthew Murphy and John Benwalid are going to start in 13th and 14th. The 8th row of the grid rounded out by Kenny Reedman and Marshall Crocker Jr., with Bradley Clapham and Joshua Peters starting in 17th and 18th. Caven Norris in the 774 is going to start in 19th place. And rounding out the top 20, Mike, it is Tyler Scarali. What's the next cars look like?
21st spot is going to be Christian Gritsko. In the 22nd spot is going to be Andrew Hardman. In the 23rd spot on the grid is going to be Tyson Balbosa, with Cedric Ohan in the 24th spot. 25th is Mark Boyd. 26th is Keaton Young. And in the 27th spot, you've got Jean-Francois Lecroix. And then Robert Covey in the 28th spot. 29th spot is going to be Keenan Blades, and 30th is Robert Ridgway. In the next row back in 31st spot will be Richard Swindells, and Stam, you're going to have to help me with this, Reese. Triantopoulos, couldn't quite get that one. Sorry about that.
Triantopoulos, I believe.
Thank you. 33rd spot is going to be Nicholas Colander and Doug Meadows in the 34th spot. As we keep going back on the grid, the 35th spot is going to be Steve Sutherland. 36th is going to be Matthew Ayotte. And the 8th will be Wyatt Cormier. And then next row back, 39th is going to be Robert Testo with Nick Polliard. Rounded out that top 40.
Harry Sassy is going to start in 41st. Chad Payton and alongside him in the number 24. Matthew Mileman in the number 41 alongside Phil Nellers, also of Canada. Many Canadians taking part in this, and it's no wonder. Robert Burgess himself from Radical Canada is going to start in 45th place alongside C.R. Reid, starting in 46th. And that's going to be the last of our drivers, just about. Matthew Crimmy and Ivan Langeveld will start 47th and 48th. Then Arnaud Jeunesse is going to start in 49th. Michael Broomhead and Harland Goulbourne are also in the server, but those, as well as Jeunesse and Langeveld, are not taking to the grid. So Matthew Crimmy is going to be the last of our drivers to take to the grid here. 47 cars here at Sebring. This is just incredible. The field is so large that the rear of the field is still coming into the hairpin on the formation lap as they're making their way through Collier Curve.
Yeah, this is going to be super exciting, and there's going to be so many cars strung across this track as we get going. But this sprint race format is going to be action-packed for that 15 minutes. These guys are going to be going at it hardcore coming down into that turn 1 section. I am excited to see what these guys get.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This first race here certainly going to be a short and sharp one. Only 8 laps around Sebring. Quite a difficult track. It is bumpy. It is harsh. This track will definitely reward you if you negotiate its foibles well enough, but you make a mistake and it will punish you severely. So the likes of Fazui and Adams up the front will be wanting to keep themselves nice and stable over those bumps, particularly through Sunset Bend. You'll notice when they come through here, Mike, it's there's that bump under the bridge. It really unsettles the car, and when you're getting on the power at the start of the race, man, it's going to be tight.
Yeah, these cold tires on these cars, and I mean the suspension travel is real short compared to a lot of GT3s that a lot of guys are used to running around here. So it is definitely going to be real tricky coming around Sunset, trying to be quick around there. And these cold tires is going to lead to some interesting things, especially into turn 1. We got to watch these guys when they come flying down that front straightaway into turn 1. We expect to see a few cars maybe touching that dirt, touching that grass as we're coming around Sunset right now, Reese.
All right, let's get ready for the start then. Racine Fazui on pole. Barney holds the green flag high, and the green flag will fly. We are away. Good start from Fazui, but there looks like there's a big jump from a couple of rows back. Connor Bell immediately going to the outside, as well as George Griffiths in the 25. We are 3, 4 wide, 5 wide coming through turn 1, and Griffiths is around coming through turn 1, already with some slight damage there and falling down the order. That's going to be a huge shame for the driver who started in 8th spot, but Racine Fazui getting an excellent start. He currently leads by 0.8 of a second over Clay Morris, who's managed to overtake Matt Adams for 2nd.
That was a good start from those guys up front, but here comes a great battle coming down into that hairpin section. Hard under braking into that section, side by side, 2, 3 wide coming through there. That is still some crazy action. Got a car trying to dip around the outside, gets a tire off into the grass, but is able to get it corrected back in as we're coming down that Fangio chicane into the Cunningham corner. Another hard braking zone for these guys. Everybody's starting to get in single file. One getting out of line right there and dropping back 1 spot. So we are getting a good start with these guys up front. And like we said, it's going to be a quick race. This is going to be less than 15 minutes right now. So we're just, halfway through this lap, Reese, and everybody's starting to fan out already.
Yeah, indeed. The drivers you saw going side by side to the hairpin were Milwain and a couple of others, and it certainly resulted in a couple of drivers having to jump off. It looks like we've already lost Robert Burgess. He is retired from the race. Something huge has happened to our Radical Canada representative there. Not too sure exactly what went down for him. Looks like a problem coming out of Cunningham. The car was lost for him, and he ended up rear-ending into the barriers. That's a huge shame for Mr. Burgess, but lap 1 is complete, and we're already 1/8 of the way through this race. Matt Adams trying to pressure Clay Morris to get back onto the top spot of the podium. And don't forget, the top 10 will be inverted for race 2. Mitchell Green currently occupies that 10th spot, and he's looking to pressure Jonathan Wager and Cade Middleton for 9th and 8th. So we'll see them in the background briefly. Got to keep an eye on the pack behind, of course. Joey Haynes down in 11th spot. He might be able to gain a bit on Mitchell Green, but I think it's really important to get the slipstream around here if he wants any chance of that.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to get tucked in behind somebody. As you see a swap in that 8th and 9th spot, Jonathan making his way up into that 8th spot, Cade dropping down to 9th, but he doesn't want to fall back any farther. You don't want to get out of that top 10. So this is a real strategic play right here. Do you want to lay around low in that 10th spot? But, the one thing about that is, does that guy in 11th just kind of squeak by you and get up in front of you? So this is a real strategic role, is you see a lot of guys that like to just hang around that 10th spot. But it's a great battle. Oh, we got a car off the track right up there in front of us, Reese.
That's Buchanan, Zach Buchanan. Oh, dearie me. The man who started in 5th. He falls down the order and, maybe should have held the brakes a little bit there, Zach. He is going to get back on track safely, but I don't know how much damage that car's going to have. The number 40 with an absolutely disastrous lap 2 there, and that was on the way out of Tower Turn. It looks like he actually ran a bit beyond the track limits there on the exit. I mean, the grass and the gravel line this circuit, Mike, and if you run a little bit beyond the bounds of the curbs here, then it is an absolute disaster.
No, absolutely. You see him dip that tire off into that grass or into the dirt a little bit, gets sideways, gets tapped from the car behind him a little bit, spins him around the rest of the way, and then he's trying to get it corrected and get it back in line, but drops him all the way back into that 28 spot. So tough break from Zach right now, dropping all the way back in, trying to get a recovery in, trying to get back up towards the top, but in this sprint format, it is going to be brutal to try to work his way back in.
Yeah, very short race indeed. Not much time to make your moves. Oh, Jonathan Wager has just gone off as well there. That's coming out of turn 5. And, there's multiple drivers that are losing positions. What has happened here ahead of Wager? Coming through Big Bend, we've lost Cade Middleton, Matthew Murphy losing positions. My God, something crazy just happened. And Wager now having to make room here. Easy does it out of the hairpin, guys. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, a lot of changes on the scoring tower right now. A lot of guys moving around. Not quite sure what happened. As you see, Brady Clapman dropping down and below the 30th spot right now, trying to get a safe rejoin, trying to get back going. But Brady just dropping down. Oh, so much damage on the front of Brady's car right there. Tough break for him, and that's going to drop him way well down in the field.
Yeah, certainly is. It looks like the car that had a problem was you see that Wager actually came together with Jamie Lavelle, and then Cade Middleton was caught up in all of that. They both spun their way down the track towards Big Bend there, and Brady Clapham avoiding the worst of it, it looks like, but unfortunately seemed to have gained a bit too much damage and off at the hairpin. No traction there on the grass. Absolute chaos here on the start of lap 3, but the leaders are already on lap 4. Matt Adams has gotten past Clay Morris, and it looks like Morris might lose third here to Ozzy Milwain. I'm not too sure if that's going to happen anytime soon, but Ozzy Milwain is gaining and gaining fast. There was a little bit of a problem for Christian Gritzko we saw just there coming out of the final corner as well, hitting the concrete barrier. It seems a lot of the drivers are having trouble controlling their cars here as the tyres come up to temperature and pressure. The battle for 15th is on. Gritzko, struggling to keep a hold of that car, was under massive pressure from Kenton Young and Sam Trentopoulos.
Yeah, great battle going on right now as they're coming down into that tight hairpin section right now. Hard under braking, they come through, and taking over that spot now is that green car of Christian Gritzko, dropping back one spot into that 16th spot. Up into 15th now is Sam out in front in that green car, hitting on that 15th spot, and Gritzko trying to get that recovery spot, trying to work his way back up, and just not able to quite do it as we're closing in on that halfway point. So we're halfway through this race already, and guys are getting spread out just a little bit, but this is a tight battle right here. About 5-6 cars all battling for that 15th spot.
Yeah, very tight indeed. Gritzko is one of the big gainers in the field, started in 21st, but here comes Kenton Young up the inside of him in the white car, and he loses it over the curb. Oh, dearie me. Gendebien is always a difficult corner to get right. You unfortunately see Young fall way down the order once again, back down to 23rd. Such a shame. He was up 10 spots at the time. Well, the drivers that seem to have gained the most so far, Sam Trentopoulos and Stephen Sutherland, starting outside of the top 30, currently occupying 16th and 20th positions, as it looks like commentators curse Stephen Sutherland. He just spun there out of the final corner.
Good to see that carries on to just about every league. That good old commentator curse. You bring somebody up, how good they're doing, and something always gets them. So tough break for Steve there, trying to get it collected back down that front straightaway. See a lot of cars coming out of the pit, so there was a lot of damaged cars trying to get those repairs done to get them back going. But we are just under 6 minutes still left to go. Still some great battles up front as we come back into that 15th, 16th, 17th spot. Christian Gritzko was able to resume that 15th spot when Stam jumped off the track just a little bit back about a lap ago. But it's good side-by-side action. We got Mark Boyd right now battling it out with Zach Buchanan and Robert Covey. So good battle from these guys right here, coming down hard under braking. And you see one of the cars getting smoked up there, coming into hard brake zone there.
Yeah, that was Gritzko. He locked up coming into Cunningham. And, well, he's lost 3 positions. Robert Ridgway going to take advantage and dive up the inside of Sam Trentopoulos. Same for Zach Buchanan as well, who's on a big recovery at the moment. Ridgway started in 30th place, now occupying the coveted 15th place. Not as coveted as 10th, I should say, but still, that's a really awesome gain there from Ridgway. But we'll have to keep an eye out for Buchanan here in the bright blue machine. He's looking for a recovery here. Remember, he started in 5th. Now, on board, coming through Sunset Bend, as Clay Morris sets the fastest lap in pursuit of Matt Adams for 2nd. You see the bumps here. Look for the bump under the bridge. There it is. It doesn't look like much from the onboard, but trust me, these cars are getting jostled about.
Yeah, no, it is truly tricky, and there's also some gnarly bumps coming into turn 1 as well. You got to get in this zone, get way wide. You want to look for that orange cone right there on that fence post, and you want to hit that apex right there. Get a good drive as we come down into turn 3, hard under braking, and Buchanan looking to get up one more spot. So Zach Buchanan moved back up into that 15th spot. Like you said, he's doing that recovery drive, trying to work his way back up. Still a long ways up. It's going to be a long gap even to get back up to that 10th spot, as he's about 10 seconds behind the 10th place car. So we got a little ways back to that invert spot, but if he can work back up into this grid, that'll help him for that next race.
Yeah, indeed it will. He'll, at the very least, be able to get a bit closer to the top 10 and maybe try and salvage some points from tonight. Well, Clay Morris versus Matt Adams here. Clay taking a good 3/10 out of Adams on the last lap here. Adams made a great pass in turn 1, I believe, on lap 2 to retake that 2nd position. These guys did qualify in this order, but maybe race pace is more Clay Morris's strength here. Staying in the slipstream, so important around here. These cars, I mean, I was more of an SR8 driver back when that car was the Radical on iRacing, but this SR10 is certainly a fantastic machine. Only a 4-cylinder turbo engine, but this thing is rapid, as you can see. New fastest lap again for Racine Fazui, 154.4. Man, that is a solid half a second clear of this battle here.
No, that Fazuli is definitely pulling away as he's opened up to almost a 3-second gap now on Matt Adams, but Matt is under pressure heavy from Clay Morris. He has definitely worked his way up close, just a half second behind him, sitting in that 3rd spot, but he really wants to stay within that 1-second zone. As like you said, you want to keep that draft. You want to be able to just suck back in close on these long straightaways as they come hard into braking into that hairpin section. Morris all over that back wing of Matt Adams, waiting for his time. Is he biding his time? Is he waiting for that last lap pass? That could be something he's doing. He's saving his tires just a little bit. Doesn't want to overheat them too much. But with just 2:30 left on the clock, you got another lap and a half or so on these cars. That he's going to probably want to wait until that white flag lap, make a run down that back straightaway possibly, and make a move coming into sunset.
Well, we're almost on that final lap. It's going to be white flag when Racine Fazui crosses the line next. So time is rapidly running out for Clay Morris to make that move. A little bit further back, the number 58 machine, sorry, this is further forward, my apologies. Racine down the Ullman straight, named for Alec Ullman. the man who brought Sebring to the world. He was part of a group of drivers who brought this track to fruition in the 1950s. I've got his book. It's a great read on the early days of Sebring International Raceway. Racine Fazui crosses the line to start the final lap, and we'll see what he can do to hold off the might of Adams and Morris behind. He is a long way clear of them. Nearly 3 seconds is the gap for the lead, so I think all he has to do is bring it home from here. Other battles in the top 10 outside of Adams and Morris: Ozzy Milwain and Connor Bell, not separated by much for 4th spot, and then the battle for 6th, Mitchell Green versus Joey Haynes, and Joshua Peters by himself in 8th. The final 2 positions in the top 10, Caven Norris and John Benwillid, and it looks like they are well safe from Kenny Reedman in 11th. It's a gap of a few seconds from Benwillid to Reedman, so not much is going to change there at the moment. Benwillid has your race to pole. Let's see what Connor Bell can do here on the final lap to try and find his way back past Ozzy Milwain.
Yeah, like we said, stuck him right behind him. Oh, flashing the lights, trying to run him a little distracted.
Whoa, here we go.
Hard under braking, coming on that inside. Can't quite stick the deal. So he's going to be setting his time. He's going to try to stay close, get that zone, that draft zone in. He's still less than a half second back. So your 4th and 5th spot, Ozzy and Connor still going at it. Matt and Clay also still going at it. Both those guys are less than a half a second apart. Connor getting by, but here is your 2nd and 3rd place, Matt and Clay, coming through the Fangio section and down that back straightaway. This is where Clay might have a chance, but he's still 3/10 back. And as you see Matt swerving back and forth, he knows the game. He knows what's going on, trying to break that gap, that draft down that back straightaway, Reese.
Yep. Into the final corner they come. It looks like it's going to be not much of a change here. Up the front, Racine Fazui, a dominant drive here in race 1. He takes the win for the first race of Radical Canada Cup for 2024. And Morris just avoided getting past Matt Adams there in the end. Milwain and Bell completing the top 5 there. John Benwillid is going to be the man who finishes in 10th and grabs pole for race 2. There's more battles going on back here. Buchanan trying to find his way past Tyler Scurali here right at the end. He's not going to get it done. And Jonathan Wager and Matthew Murphy crossing the line very close together for 13th place as well. More battles going on down the field. Kenton Young, Marshall Crocker crossing the line very close to each other. Swindells and Middleton only separated by a few tenths for 38th place. Aside from that, looks like that's about all the finishes that we are going to have. There is one more battle for 32nd, and it looks like Doug Meadows, running a little wide out of the final corner, is going to still keep Matthew Ayotta behind him, but Racine Fazui winning the sprint race here. All he had to do was avoid the chaos. Behind him, it was bedlam.
Racine definitely laid it down. I mean, setting the fastest lap of the race with a 1:54.5, a clear half second faster than anybody else on the track. So definite dominant. It'll be interesting to see how he fares from starting in that 10th spot in that next race, see if he can work his way back up through the field. But like we started in this race, that was a lot of chaos coming into turn 1 on that lap 1. So it'll be interesting to see if he can actually hold it on.
Yeah, certainly. Well, with everyone across the line, Racine Fazui will jump in for a little bit of a breather before the 16-lap feature to come. Let's go through our results then. Up the front, it was Racine Fazui in the sprint, with Matt Adams 3 seconds behind. Clay Morris unable to get back past him for second. Milwain and Bell rounding out the top 5. Mitchell Green, Joey Haynes, Joshua Peters, and Caven Norris round out your top 9 in the pro class, with John Benwillid finishing in 10th spot. He is going to have pole for race 2.
And then in the 11th spot is Kenny Reedman. In 12th was Tyler Scully. Zachary Buchanan in 13th. Jonathan Wager in 14th. Matthew Murray in the 15th spot. 16th spot is Robert Ridgway. In the 17th spot was your 3rd place in the NAM guy. It was Mark Boyd. Cedric Ohan in the 18th. Christian Gritsko was running in that 15th spot earlier, dropped back to 19th. And then rounded out your top 20 was Kenton Young.
Marshall Crocker Jr. finishing in 21st place, solid 40 seconds back from the lead. Robert Covey, very close to him indeed. Another couple of seconds back to Trantopoulos, Swindles, and Colander. Man, they were very close together throughout the race. Nick Pollard finishing in 26th place. George Griffiths, Steve Sutherland, Chad Payton, and Robert Teseo rounding out your top 30.
And then we get back to the back of the pack here. Some of these guys having those problems in that turn one melee. Doug Meadows, Matthew Iotti, Matthew Byman, Andrew Hardman, Hari Sashi, Matthew Grimmy, Daniel Blanco. And then you've got some guys one lap down. Brady Clapman, Cade Middleton, Phil Nellis in the 40th spot.
Yes, indeed. And now we get into the real poor retirement territory. Arnaud Genest and Michael Broomhead did not take to the start. JF Larocque, unfortunately, finishing 2 laps down. Robert Burgess had a very torrid race, a crash, and a couple of other issues besides. He finishes 3 laps down with Lavelle, Cormier, Blades, and Barbosa all retiring from the race. In the middle of that chaos, C.R. Reed and Ivan Langeveld were not able to take to the start. Neither did Harlan Goulbourne. I don't expect we'll be seeing them for race 2 either. Well, we're in the warm-up session now, which means we have a little bit of time to thank ASR for their support of this series.
Why Radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.
Well, the Radical Cup Canada, fantastic racing in the initial segment of this night here at Sebring International Raceway. We're going to be moving into the feature very shortly. 30 laps on the cards here. 16 laps on the cards here. Misreading my numbers as per usual. If you want to know the identity of the man who just flubbed for his life, it's me, Reese Gardner, with Mike Braun in the commentary box with me. Christian Hill once again behind the scenes, bringing you these live pictures on Pit Road Productions. Well, Mike, I'm excited for race 2. Inverted top 10, and I believe a pit stop as well. It's certainly going to throw a few other spanners into the works.
No, you are absolutely correct. It is a required pit stop on this feature race. Like we said, Racine was way out in front of that beginning race. I mean, it was only 9 laps is what they had to turn for that sprint race, and he was a good 3 to 4 seconds clear of everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see how he works through the field, if he's able to work his way up. But we definitely saw a lot of chaos in that turn 1 section. So go ahead, Reese. Let's go ahead and go through the grid.
All righty, we'll just do the top 10 because they are inverted. Racine Fazui, by virtue of finishing 10th, will start. John Benwillard will start on pole. for the second race of the night. Caven Norris alongside him. Joshua Peters and Joey Haynes are your second row, with Mitchell Green and Connor Bell 5th and 6th. The 4th row of the grid will be taken up by Ozzy Milwain and Clay Morris, and Matt Adams will be starting in 9th alongside Racim Fazui, our race 1 winner. Now, I would expect the likes of Adams and Fazui to try and make their way through as quick as possible. We did see that Clay Morris was able to give Matt Adams a real run for his money here. So I reckon we're going to be seeing some good racing in the back half of the top 10, but also from drivers a bit further down like Zach Buchanan and Jonathan Wager and potentially Tyler Scurali as well. Scurali made up a great amount of places in that first race, started 20th and finished in 12th. So it seems like his race pace is really on it tonight.
No, definitely. And this is, I mean, a full field. I mean, we've got, 42 cars right now. 51 cars are in this system, but I mean, over 40 cars running around this track is going to be amazing. If the track temp being 33°C, 92 Fahrenheit, I mean, that's a little on the warmer side. I've seen it warmer here at Sebring, which could tend to give a little bit of an issue with these guys, but you see the guys weaving back and forth, trying to get a little bit of temperature in those tires to help with that first lap. So, we got a full parade lap coming around. That's going to give these guys plenty of opportunity to get that temperature up. But, now we got to really worry about, as Reese, as we were talking about, we got to worry about pit stops. Get that pit strategy. Do you fuel save when you're drafting behind somebody? Do you want to come in early? Do you want to come in late? So many different characters, so many different things that you can strategize and try to make that move with these guys.
Yeah, indeed. I'm not the most familiar with the Radical SR10, so I'm not sure what the tire burn off is like, but I can guarantee that drivers will be fuel saving in the draft to try and shorten their pit stop. It might only save you a couple of tenths in the lane, but that can make all the difference.
So long as you don't get caught speeding in pit lane. So you really got to watch it, because coming off of that sunset turn, I mean, it is a pretty tight little pit lane, a little short run up into pits. So you got to really watch that. And then coming out of pit lane, it's got to be cautious coming into turn 1. Some guys have a tendency of trying to just jump down and go straight into the racing line, but that could cause some chaos as well later on in this race. So we'll have to see how much chaos these guys put into this final race. 16 laps? Should be a great race, and I am excited to see what Racine can do, because that guy was flying in the sprint race.
Yeah, crazy pace from Racim Fazui. Remember, he qualified on pole with a 1 minute 54.3, and that was a solid half a second clear of Matt Adams for the race 1 grid. And fastest lap in the sprint was a 1:54.499 from Fazui. You compare that to, say, the times up at the front of the field here in the feature. Ben Willard's fastest lap from race 1 was a 1:55.6. So yeah, there's quite a big pace gap between the guys at the back of the top 10 and the guys at the front. They are going to compress massively here on this first lap. Well, we are on the Ullman Straight once more behind the iRacing safety car, and everyone forming up 2 wide, getting ready to go here for the 16-lap feature here at Sebring. The BiS Radical Cup Canada has certainly shown itself to be a fantastic series over the seasons that it's completed so far, and this season is going to be no less. I'm really looking forward to turn 1. We saw some 4-5 wide action there in race 1. Longer race, so we might see a little bit more care taken in the turns, but we'll have to wait and see when the drivers get there. Ben Willard was going to take the start here as the green flag flies, and there's chaos already on the start. It looks like there was a bit of a compression there on the start, and there's a pile up in the middle of the field. The track is blocked.
Wow, that is like a good third of the field wrecked. Not even before they got to the start-finish line. One car getting sideways and then just collected a good half of the field right there as we jump back up front. All sorts of chaos. I mean, they didn't even wait until turn 1 to have the chaos. It was before the start-finish line. So we'll have to get that sorted out. We'll get a replay of that shortly to see what's going on. But you see JF out in front right now, leading the way. Michael Broomhead in the second spot. I think
That's crazy.
I think we're off in scoring here a little bit.
Yeah, we are. And there's more chaos further at the hairpin. My lord. Okay, all right. I think we're going to have to go through a couple of replays here because lap 1, I don't think anyone knows what's going on. What I can tell you is Racine Fazui is probably going to take the blame for that start line incident. He went early. I think he saw that Clay Morris and Connor Bell were itching to go, and he put the power down, and he ran into the back of Morris, which ended up causing that pile-up.
Yeah, so we got Kevin Morse out in front, leading the way right now as we're on board right now with Kenny Reedman in the number 42 car in the 6th spot, sitting right behind Mitchell Green as they come down the Ullman Straight right now for the first time by, working their way up the standings up into that 5th and 6th spot. Right behind Kenny is Matthew Murphy. Christian Gritzko all the way up into the 8th spot already. Gritzko making a great move. Gritzko was in the 19th spot, if I remember correctly, and working his way up all the way up into that 8th spot, getting clear through all that chaos in that start and able to really take advantage of it and get up into that top 10 right away.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff there from Gritzko, and also from Brady Clapham, who finds himself in the top 10 after starting in 38th. Remember, Clapham was one of the drivers who was involved in a crash in race 1. Well, this is an excellent recovery from him, and great avoidance as well. Looks like there's some further problems for our race 1 winner, Racine Fazui. He's fallen all the way down to 23rd, and I'm not too sure exactly what happened to him there. Fazui was in the top 11. He obviously got some damage from the start line incident. Looks like he just lost it by himself in the middle of turn 1.
Coming into turn 1, just maybe got a little too on that inside and collected those bumps, and looks like the car just got light on him and it just over rotated coming through there. So tough break from Racine. So we'll jump back and let's see what the chaos really looked like at the start. That was a whole mess of things going on at that start, where a good third of the field got collected right there at the start. So we're kind of reviewing some of the chaos. Here we come down the front straightaway, Reese. This is going to be interesting to just watch it in slow-mo to see what happens.
Yeah, okay, so keep an eye on Fazui. See the white car of Connor and the red car? See? One of them tries to go early, and then Fazui responds by getting into the back of the white machine and everyone else behind. I mean, Fazui would have been looking in his mirrors and seeing all of that and been like, oh dear. Clay Morris, the car that was hit there by Racine Fazui. And, well, if you had that in front of you, there was no way you were getting through.
Yeah, that is a complete yard sale on the front straightaway. For lots of fiberglass and lots of bent metal. Tough break for these guys. I mean, those are the guys that were running front in the sprint race, just trying to get that edge, trying to get that inch to go, and Fazuli just getting in the back there, spinning these guys around, and then is just pure bedlam. Everybody thinking they have a chance to get by. But some of those guys sneaking by. That was who was that? Brady Clapman, it looked like, just going by in that black and green car. He was able to stay pinned and get through there clean, but some of these other guys tried to see a gap and they weren't able to get through there, Reese.
Yeah, I think the problem is they wouldn't have seen what was happening in front of them until it was too late. They would have heard the call of the green flag and gotten on the power. So they were approaching that incident at full throttle, and it just ballooned into something terrible. Well, that's going to be something for the stewards to look at after this. Looks like, unfortunately, we have lost Racine Fazui. He's going to join the absolute junkyard that the pit lane has turned into. Clay Morris, of course, out early, being hit by Fazui there. Robert Covey, Matthew Ayotte, Michael Broomhead, Wyatt Cormier, Harry Sassi as well has lost his front end and he's just pulled into the pits. There's so many drivers here who would have been hoping for something good from race 2, but it ultimately came to nothing early on.
Yeah, that just really led to just putting a damper on the start of this race, because it could have been a very exciting race with all these guys going at it. But we got Matt Adams in the second spot right now, trying to hold off Ozzy a little bit. Ozzy Milwain up into that third spot. We've got a great three-way battle up for, and you see John in that red number plate sitting there in that fourth spot. He has worked his way all the way up into the fourth spot, starting 10th on the grid.
Yeah, I believe he started on pole by virtue of finishing 10th in race 1. So he has lost out a little bit, but you can see that he's keeping himself in the battle. Milwain, Adams, and Norris inverted top 3 there. And Milwain, I think, is the one to watch, because he's really catching up to Matt Adams at the moment. It was only a 10th off him on the last lap. Jamie Lavelle. Oh dear. Oh no. I was going to say Milwain was the one to watch, but not for that reason.
The commentator curse gets him again. Well-known one. So that tough break coming into that hard break zone and losing so many spots right now. Adams had a great run going and just dropping down the standings right now.
Yeah, and Adams did nothing wrong there. It was just a case of Milwain getting on the brakes too late for the hairpin. You'll see it here. He gets on much later than Adams, then locks up and goes straight into the back of him. Adams will be none too happy with that turn of events. Well, that promotes Ben Willard back into second spot. Kenny Reedman and Mitchell Green rounding out your top 4, and there's quite the battle for 5th and 6th going on, with Matthew Murphy holding off quite a good pack of Matt Adams, who's actually managed to keep himself in 7th spot, but I presume with some big rear end damage and potentially some straight line speed loss. I can see that Gritsko and Peters are catching up to him there.
Yeah, that's going to be a great battle up front right now, as we're just about 8 minutes down. We still have 22 minutes still left to go, as we are coming down the front straight right now, watching these guys kind of getting spread out right now. So everybody's kind of biding their time, and some of these guys definitely, like we talked about in the intro, get into that draft, save that fuel, and maybe do an undercut when you go through the pit stops, because this is a required pit stop race. So they will have to come in for one mandatory stop. Maybe they can get an undercut, maybe jump the car that's in front of them, just trying to save fuel. Like you mentioned, just saving a couple tenths a second, on a fuel stop is going to be huge for these guys coming back out onto the track.
Oh, it certainly is. Well, Mitchell Green at the moment probably wanting to get past Reedman, but at the same time maybe wants to lift off a little bit down the straights and fuel save. We'll have to wait and see in this battle for 3rd place. Man, the field is topsy-turvy, and as I look down the timing screen, I see so many positions gained for the likes of George Griffiths. He's up 22 spots into P5. Still got Brady Clapham in 10th, 28 places up. Further in the midfield, Jamie Lavelle, Tyson Barbosa, and Keenan Blades, they are all up plus 20 places after a torrid race 1. So things have fallen their way here in race 2. Let's see if they can hold on to that momentum, as we are just about a third of the way through this race. 20 minutes are remaining on the timer, projected 11 laps remaining. So now things start to really turn up. It looks like Matt Adams is making a good recovery. He's just passed George Griffiths there for 5th place. And further behind, seeing that's Milwain, who again has not come into the pits for that damage yet, making his way past Brady Clapham to get back into 10th spot. So those two drivers that we saw in that incident down at the hairpin, not getting enough damage to justify a pit stop just yet, but we'll see how it affects their pace long term.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see, and they might be able to get a little bit of repair done while they're in their pit stop. Might help with the aero a little bit, but these cars are very aero dependent, so we'll have to see how these guys are able to do, as we're watching Robert Ridgway coming around right now, coming down at the short chute into that hairpin section. Ridgway holding down the line in that 12th spot. Able to get everybody spread out. As you see back behind there, you've got Keaton Young trying to find a way by Connor Bell and can't quite get the deal done, and jumps off the track just a little bit, collects an X. Hopefully he's not going to have to do any kind of drive-through or penalty with too many X's on him, but Keaton Young hanging on to that 14th spot. Again, like we said, these guys are getting settled in right now. We're 19 minutes still left to go. We're going to start thinking about pit stops because we're a good 11 minutes in, and so we're going to have to see. So back up into that 9th spot, Matthew Murphy in 9th, right behind Christian Gritzko. Gritzko was that big capitalizer. Both these guys had a good capitalize on that accident. Brady Clapman was another one. Brady dropping down to 11th, but Gritzko still hanging on to that 8th spot. Matt Murphy right behind him down the back straightaway, trying to get that draft, trying to get a little bit closer. Still about a half second behind Gritzko. Closing that gap, gets in within 3/4 tenths coming in to Sunset Turn as Gritzko leads him around in that 9th spot. Good three-way battle now coming into Sunset as well. As 13th spot right now, Robert Ridgway sitting back there waiting for his time, trying to get a good run around that real high line around Sunset, trying to get a good jab down to the gun, but Connor Bell jumping on that inside of Brady. Brady's going to drop down to that 12th spot. Connor Bell in 11th, and Robert Ridgway looking for that inside line. Couldn't quite stick it through there, Reese, as he's still giving some good pressure.
Yeah, great pressure that Connor Bell is managing to press on those guys behind him. Ridgway here piling the pressure on Brady Clapham. It's a good run through Big Bend. He's going to switch to the inside for the hairpin. This is the battle for 12th, and for the time being, Ridgway is ahead, and he manages to pull it up in time for the hairpin. Clapham, I think, just trying to hold on here. He's got Young and Crocker right behind him now, and those two are looking super quick as well. Worth pointing out that the fastest lap has gone to Matt Adams, who, remember, was run into the back by Ozzy Milwain, so evidently his pace hasn't been affected at all, and he's on a massive recovery drive here with 9 laps to go. Could he get back into the lead here? Caven Norris with quite the lead at the moment, 4 seconds ahead of Reedman. Oh, a little bit off there for the number 75, but Adams is well in the battle for the top 3 here now, and he could be second at least.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to lead to some interesting, and it's going to lead to those strategies into that pit stop, and trying to, is somebody going to try to short fuel, try to gain a little bit of room, trying to get that undercut, as we're going to start seeing pit stops here. I'm guessing pretty soon in the next lap or two, we might start seeing some guys jump into the pits as we're closing in close to that halfway point. But going to be a great battle up front as Matt Adams is going to really try to close in on Mitchell Green as Matt Adams turns another fast lap of a 1:54.919. So quick lap from Matt as he is all over these guys, trying to reel them in, trying to work his way back up on that recovery drive.
Well, that was 1.3 seconds faster than the previous lap for our leader, Caven Norris. So Matt Adams is on an absolute blinder right now, and he's going to try and get past Green here coming into the hairpin. Not far enough to get past Reedman. Just manages to slow up at the apex and avoid running to the back of the 42. That is 3rd place for Matt Adams, and he's going to get another move done under brakes here at Cunningham. My God, what a drive from the 17. This is a fantastic recovery. I hope I haven't cursed him further.
No, that was great. Great pass, 2 passes in one straight. Matt Adams working his way up, but now he's got a big 4-second gap back up to Caven in that lead spot. As you can see, I'm just at the top of the screen up there. Got a lot of time to gap up, but we are just closing on that halfway point. 15 minutes down, 15 minutes still left to go. So like I said, this is going to be where we're going to start thinking about, is this where pit stops are going to start happening just past that halfway point? That's where these guys start thinking about, start strategizing things. As you see, just a great battle going on right here with these guys. Good move on the inside down into Sunset section. Car number 7 of Mitchell Green trying to work his way around, and right behind him, that's John just these three guys just nose the tail coming around Sunset.
Yeah, Ben Willett has done a good job of keeping himself in the battle for the top 5 here. Let's see what Reedman and Green do coming into turn 1. You know, the track widens up so much on the way into this corner. It's tempting to make a pass, but sometimes you just got to sit behind and wait for the clearer braking zones as we have our first scheduled pit stops from the midfield. Connor Bell, Robert Ridgway, Brady Clapham and Zach Buchanan are all in. So with 8 laps to go, now we start seeing the strategizing.
Yeah, this is where it's really going to start getting interesting to see these guys do that. Is Mitchell Green sitting in that 4th spot and trying to come around. As you see the car right ahead of him, McKinney just blinking a little bit. That could be very distracting for a car, especially when you're tucked into that back wing right now, trying to get that every little inch so you can get a good draft down a straightaway. As Mitchell Green going to try to maybe get a move on the inside, not quite doing. It's just going to sit right there behind him and bide his time, fuel save a little bit, trying to get a little bit more, save a little bit more fuel, get that couple tenths more, trying to get that undercut and maybe jump him coming around to that next time around.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, this is certainly a tight battle here for 3rd. Will it end up being 3rd in the end, with some drivers behind trying their best to make up ground? So many battles going on through this field, but if you want to know what the pit stop cycle is potentially like, Bell and Ridgway, 9-second pit stops, around 9.5 to 10 seconds seems to be what you're looking for a fast pit stop here. Brady Clapham with 11.8 seconds spent in the lane. So keep an eye out for stops in that margin as Caven Norris, our leader, is now in, but the rest of the top 5 are staying out. George Griffiths is going to come in from 6th. Peters follows him in from 7th. In comes Gritzko, Murphy and Milwain as well. All right, now it's on.
Matt Adams out in front now. Let's see if he can start stretching his legs out. If I was him, I would definitely stay out as long as I can. He's got a clear track ahead of him. Want to get that run going and get out in front and just pull away. And hopefully he can stretch it out over Kenny in that 2nd spot. So we'll have to see how Matt is able to hold on to that clear air, as we've got just under 12 minutes still left to go. Lots of time, lots of battles to still come with these guys with that mandatory pit stop that they have to do.
Yeah, indeed. Well, in terms of pit stops, looks like Caven Norris with a 9.6 second stop. He leads the car, the cars that have pitted. Another group's just come in. Nick Pollard, Chad Payton, Doug Meadows, Joey Haynes coming in as well, Keenan Blades and Tyson Balbosa. Haynes, one of the drivers that have to really make their way up here. Haynes has already visited the pits once and looks like he might finish no higher than just inside the top 20. Racine Fazui is back out on track and starting to come back with a fantastic new fastest lap there. Unfortunately, Racine is 3 minutes behind the leader, so he is currently actually looks more to the tune of about 3 laps down, so he's not going to be getting any good result here from race 2, but Racine still showing that he'll be the man to beat this season, as the pass is going to happen here for 2nd. Mitchell Green and Kenny Reedman come together, but Ben Willard sees the door open on the inside and comes straight through. Are they going to go for the pits? Well, Ben Willard and Green are, and Reedman follows them in. That is very crucial for John Ben Willard, as Matt Adams also jumps into the lane ahead, and that was perfectly done there from Ben Willard. He got track position over his rivals right at the correct time.
And he was sitting back there in the back of that pack, probably fuel saving as well. So we'll have to see how long these guys' pit stops are as we're right now watching Mitchell Green come into this pit stop, getting that time in, getting that fuel in, no tires for him, jumps out and jumps him. Mitchell Green able to save quite a bit of fuel and get that optimum position coming out of pit lane.
Yeah, good stuff there. Matt Adams, meanwhile, with a very quick stop. He has come out behind Caven Norris, but is starting to catch him up. So we might see an on-track pass for the lead in the next couple of laps with the kind of pace that Matt Adams can pull off.
Yeah, it's going to be a great battle for these guys as we're closing in towards that second half of this race, trying to get through, trying to get around. We'll have to see what these guys can do as we're getting around with 9 minutes still left to go.
Yep, 5.5 laps left to run here for Caven Norris in the lead. And Caven, well, he's had a great run up through the field over both races tonight. Remember, he qualified 19th for the sprint, managed to gain 10 spots to finish in 9th. That gave him a front row start for this race. And now he holds on to the lead, but the ever-pursuing Matt Adams behind him. Green versus Ben Willett on screen, and it looks like George Griffiths is standing to gain a bit on these guys as well. Griffiths pitted the lap before them, and his pit stop wasn't the quickest that we've seen. In fact, Green, it looks like, has the quickest pit stop of everybody, under 8 seconds. That makes me wonder, has he put enough fuel in the car to get to the end?
That, like we talked about, somebody going to kind of go under fuel it, try to save some fuel when he gets going again, and we'll have to see if he's able to finish that race out with that stop. So we'll definitely, it's going to be an interesting strategy for him. We have to definitely see where it goes, but as you see, some great battles going on right now, as we are seeing Caven Norris out in front right now. As you watch on board, watching him go into turn 1, watch that focus of him coming around into turn 1 and getting that lead. But Matt Adams closing in. He's got Matt Adams really on his back wing. So this is going to be a great battle out front for these top 2 guys, as you see Adams so close now after that first pit stop.
You see him looking up a little bit every time he exits the corner. That's him checking his mirrors there. He can see that Matt Adams is getting closer and closer every single corner. And the amount of oversteer that I saw on the exit of turn 5, Caven Norris is driving the wheels off this car, trying to keep this lead. But there's still a long way to go in this race. Yeah, 4 laps. I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but Sebring is quite a long circuit. It's 6 kilometers long for those of you living in metric land. So you end up covering quite a bit of distance in those 4 laps. And I mean, just look at, you can physically see Matt Adams getting bigger every single corner. This is a fantastic drive from both of these guys. What a battle for the lead we have.
No, totally. And Matt Adams still with the fastest lap of the race with a 154.9. Norris with a 155.5. So half-second difference on the hot lap for these guys. As you see Matt even closing that gap even tighter. 0.3 of a second separating your top 2 cars right now as we're coming down the back straightaway. We've got 6 minutes and 36 seconds still left to go. Still a lot of battle to go as you see him drafting him, going to that move down that inside line, Reese.
Yes, there we go. Matt Adams to the lead of the race in Sunset Bend. Picked up the slipstream, got the move done cleanly on the inside, and he just brushes up against the tire bundles here. It looks like he might have actually lost a bit of momentum there. He's going to have to defend into turn 1, but I think the lead might be protected for now. Oh, Norris, he had a big wiggle in the middle of turn 1, and he loses out massively as a result. Matt Adams is your leader. Just in time to come up on a lapped car of Matthew Crimmy.
Yeah, just perfect timing, but Crimmy's going to slide out of the way. Oh, as you see, one car off the track as well. So somebody having a problem. Yeah, Meadows having a problem in the grass. But as you see, Matt Adams now taking over the lead. Caven Norris dropping back into that second spot. Tucked in right behind him, trying to keep that slipstream, trying to maybe get a good run down the straightaway, but squiggling out of that hairpin right there is not the best way to stay close to your leader. He's going to really try to stay close in that draft with just over 5 minutes left to go. This top 2 battle still going at it, Reese. These guys are, Matt Adams is trying to run away and hide as he's already starting to stretch it out by 7/10.
Yeah, crucially, that's still within slipstream range for Caven Norris, and Norris will be counting on that, being able to stay close enough to Adams to get the slipstream and still stay in touch, potentially have a chance at the lead. From what we've seen from Adams's passes, the slipstream is incredibly strong in these cars, so you want to try and get more than a second ahead of him if you want to protect yourself. And out onto the Ullman Straight they come once again. Adams. We'll see what kind of lap he sets here with that pass being done. It's on behind as well with George Griffiths getting past Mitchell Green and John Benwillid, but it looks like Green will be coming back at him for third. See what he can do. He's going to lift out. He's not going to go for the move. Benwillid managing to find his way past Matthew Crimmy, who's missing his front end, unfortunately. But, Benwillid, oh dear, John Benwillid just got into the tyre bundles there. I think that's going to be his campaign for a podium over. Too much damage to really keep up now.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for John to kind of hang on to that, but as you see, third and fourth still nose to tail. That is George and Mitchell battling for third and fourth. Good battle for these guys coming around. And Benwillid just dropping back in that fifth spot. Still great run for him, rounding out in that top 5 spot. But did he get too much damage to drop him back even farther? We'll have to see. But Mitchell Green still hanging on to that 4 spot. He is about a half second behind George Griffins in that third as he closes in hard under braking, trying to get a good run. Doesn't quite get the exit that George gets, but still going to try to hang on to that draft, trying to stay close and maybe get even closer when they come onto Ullman Straight. So we'll have to see if he can close that gap as we're closing in on 3 minutes still left to go. This is going to be good enough for what, about 2 laps, Reese? 2 more laps with these guys?
Yeah, 2 more laps to go, and that's going to be a crucial number to think about for Milwain and Reedman. They are battling hard here, just about to come up on Crimmy, and, well, Milwain's going to make his way past. The door opens for Reedman to find his way through as well, and he might have lost a bit of touch with Milwain there. Christian Gritzko is still on the up and up here, up 9 spots, and trying to catch up to those two. Let's highlight drivers that have really done well out of this race. Now that all the pit stops are complete, Jamie Lavale up 30 spots into P15. Magnificent from the 444. Brady Clapham up 22 places, and Tyson Barbosa up 28 spots to round out the top 20. Barbosa, I believe did not finish the first race here tonight, so he's had a massive recovery.
That's a great recovery, and to be able to take advantage of that incident in the start of the race, able to weed his way through that yard sale on that front straightaway and work his way up and be able to maintain that top 20 spot. That is a definite thing to hang your hat on. And definitely going to be a good highlight for him as we see Zachary Buchanan in the 13th spot. Great battle for 13th right now with Marshall Crocker and Robert Ridgway right behind him, coming in there right now. Oh, Zachary getting a little loose on that back end, running those tires a little warm, as you can see him kind of wiggling around, and it's going to drop him back even a little bit farther from Marshall. And going to lose his chances. We got less than 1:30 still left to go, Reese, as your leaders are about a half a lap ahead of these guys. And we're still going to have one more lap after this.
Yeah, indeed we are. The battles are by no means over here in the Radical Cup Canada by BiS Sim Leagues. The Winter 24 and 25 series is certainly looking to be a scintillating one. This has been a dramatic opening round of the season, and I'm looking forward to things to come. Tell you what, the A-class drivers, minimum iRating of 3,000, are dominating the top of the field as you'd expect, but I'm really impressed with the likes of Benwillid and Gritzko. They're in B-class with an iRating cap of 3,000. So in terms of their official race results, you'd expect that they wouldn't be quite as close to the top guys as they are, but Benwillid, oh dear. Is that like the third commentator's curse I've done tonight? Oh my god!
Oh, that was Gritzko.
Dangerous re-entry for John Benwillid. Deary me, from hero to zero. I was about to say, man, he's doing well, but lost it on his own through Sunset Bend, and I think ill-advisedly trying to get back going forward in the middle of the corner as Gritzko was coming up on him. And I think it looks like Christian Gritzko's run through the field may very well come to an end as well. Look at the damage he's got.
That was double commentators' curses. We were just giving kudos to Christian Gritzko, a move staying on that top 10 spot and coming around and just getting just totally wrecked there. So tough break for Christian, and just kind of try to make his way around these last lap here. As we see, it's the white flag right now for these guys. Last lap coming around, and tough break for Christian.
Yeah, very tough break indeed, but opposite of a tough break for Matt Adams. For Zooey, he's going to take the fastest lap, but he is a long way down and nowhere near even the lead lap. Matt Adams with, I think, one of the best recoveries I've seen in quite some time, getting rear-ended by Ozzy Milwain coming into the hairpin, and recovering from that to come away with a 3.5 second lead over Caven Norris. I mean, what a drive it has been from Matt Adams. The number 17 is going to take the feature victory here at Sebring, and he'll be very happy with how that's gone down for him. Norris will finish in second place. Griffiths and Green still very close towards the end, but they will finish in that order. And Connor Bell, one of the drivers who was involved in the incident that started that start pile-up, ending up finishing 5th.
And it looks like we got Josh Peters finishing in that 6th spot, Ozzy Milwain in 7th, Kenny Reedman in 8th. And then you got a little bit of a gap back to Matt Murphy just crossing the line now. Great battle to close it out with Marshall Crocker and Robert Ridgway in the 11th. Jamie Levill finishing in 12th. Zach Buchanan. These guys starting to finish their way around as we're working through the rest of the field. But again, a tough break for a few of these guys, having a good race. And just, you know, Christian Gritzko there on that last lap, just getting wrecked and just trying to limp his way around. Still going to come home at about 20th spot possibly, but just tough break for him. But back out in front, Matt Adams. Man, that was a fantastic drive there.
Yeah, he'll be very happy with that. And I mean, I have no idea how the championship standings are going to look coming out of this round, but I would suspect they're very jumbled up, you know, compared to what we thought the form guide would suggest coming into this round. A few more battles to the end. The 83 of Keenan Blades, unable to make his way past Mark Boyd on the run up to the line. It looks like they're going to be close. Actually, he is going to get the run out of Sunset Bend and just grab that position. Oh, my Lord. Is that Gritzko that was stopped there?
Yeah, that was Gritzko.
Yeah, righto. Huh. Okay. Well, a little bit of a chaotic finish there for the positions further down in the field, but that's all of the drivers across the line now, which means we can go through our results for race 2 here at Sebring, the first round of the winter 24-25 season of Radical Cup Canada. Man, what a drive it was from Matt Adams. You know, to recover from getting hit off the circuit and potentially getting some rear end damage, to come back to win from there. Just incredible stuff. Over 3 seconds back to Caven Norris. George Griffiths another 3 seconds back, rounding out the podium. The number 25 up 24 places. What a great recovery from him. Mitchell Green and Connor Bell round out the top 5, with Joshua Peters managing to keep himself in the top 10 throughout this race. 6th place for him. Ozzy Milwain will finish where he started in 7th spot. Kenny Reedman and Matthew Murphy rounding out your top 9, and Marshall Crocker Jr. is going to win the B class, finishing in 10th.
And in the 11th spot, you have Robert Ridgway in the number 11 car. 444 of Jamie Levill finishing in the 12th spot. Zachary Buchanan finishing in 13th. And then you've got the second B-class car of Brady Clapman in the 14th. Brady with a great start and able to take advantage of that early melee to get up into that 14th spot. Kenton Young in the 15th spot. Then you got John Benwald in the 16th spot. Nicholas Colliander in 17th. Nick Pollard in 18th. Christian Gritzko limping his way down and finishing in that 19th spot. And Tyson Balbosa, we talked about him earlier as well, dropping down to the 20th.
21st was Joey Haynes, another one of many drivers that had big trouble here over the course of race 2. Keenan Blades and Mark Boyd, we saw them finishing very close together across the line, only separated by 0.03 of a second. That's quite the tiny gap there. Robert Teseo 25th. Peyton and Meadows 26th and 27th. Andrew Hardman in the number 3. Would have expected him to be finishing a little higher, but he's one of many drivers to have suffered issues at the start. Same for Cedric O'Hayan and Racine Fazui, the man whose jump, not really a jump start, but a little bit more of a start than others, ended up causing that huge pile up, many of the casualties of which are right here.
Yeah, this is where the hard luck guys are. The 31st spot of Richard Swindells, 32nd of JF Lacroix. In 33rd is Burgess, Nellis in 34th, Wheelman in 35th, Saucy 36th, Cormier, Morris, Clay Morris dropping all the way down to the 39th, and then, Cade Middleton rounding out your top 40. But this is, the bottom of the field. This is where all those guys had those problems. And guys disconnecting early on. Reese, this is the hard luck section right here.
Yeah, certainly is. Drivers that jump out to me from here include Jonathan Wager and Arnaud Genest. They really had huge problems in race 2. Well, that's going to round out our field there for the second race of the first round of Radical Cup Canada, and we'll get into our driver interviews now. First up, we're going to chat to Matt Adams in the number 17, the winner of our feature race here tonight. Matt, that was a brutal night, but you managed to make a great recovery from that contact with Milwain to come away with the win there.
Yeah, it was looking really good. Was getting really fortunate with incidents on the start, avoiding them and making up some spots. And then I got collected in one. Asked my spotter if I had damage. She said I'm good, so just put my head down and drove the car.
Yeah, you certainly did. Well, the way this car drives, the draft is so important, and I saw you taking advantage of that on multiple occasions. Were you suffering any rear end damage that you could sense from that contact?
According to the in-game spotter, I got away with no damage. So I guess his splitter was
Wow.
low enough under my rear diffuser where I got away clean. Just lifted up the rear end and sent me for a little bit of a ride.
Yeah, well, regardless, 9th in the sprint and the win in the feature. It looks like, the results are so jumbled up from this round. I don't know who's on top, but at the very least, it's some good points for you from round 1.
In the sprint, I was actually second, so I believe I come out P1 overall. It says 9th for the grid because I started 9th on the invert.
Yeah, indeed. My apologies. I completely forgot about that. I was just looking at the grid spot. But regardless, man, it's a fantastic first round for you. Is there anyone you want to thank for your efforts?
I want to thank Swelio Almeida for letting me run his paint this season. We're going to represent the motor racing checklist the best we can and try to walk away with the championship.
Brilliant stuff. Well, Matt Adams there winning the feature race here at Sebring, and we'll be able to jump in for Caven Norris, standing by with Mike Braun, second place.
Caven Norris, what a great race. Starting on the front row in this race and just kind of doing a recovery with these guys. Great run for you. We'll go back to the sprint race. You've rounded out in the 10th spot in that sprint race to get you on pole. Was that kind of did you kind of strategize that, or was that something you just kind of fell into?
Honestly, started 19, finished 9. I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I'm just gonna try my best and try to stay in front. I've been lucky that the big names in the back that finished in the first row had the big accident, and well, P2. I'm happy with that.
Definitely, and that start was a pretty chaotic. Were you able to see any of that in your rearview mirror, or was that just kind of you just heard everybody going at it?
I was with a friend on the Discord, and I heard a little bit about it, and yeah.
great run. Matt Adams chased you down quite a bit. He had a lot of pace. He was a good half second faster than you, and you had a great hold of him and able to hang on to that second spot. So great run from you. Does anybody want to thank while we're up here besides your cat?
All of my friend that supports me here, my family, my girlfriend, and yeah, that's it.
Great, Con Kayvon. It's good to see you in the second spot. We'll look forward to see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Reese, who else you got in these interview section for us?
Well, I think we'll go next to the number 25 of George Griffiths, who was one of the. He's jumped back in to the interview waiting channel. So I think what we'll do is we'll go for Marshall Crocker Jr. in the number 18. That was an interesting round for you there, Marshall, finishing in the top 10 in the final race of the night and taking the AM class win in the second race there.
Yeah, most certainly. It is an absolute pleasure to be up here talking to you guys. If you had told me after turn 3 of the heat race that I'd be up here in the broadcast booth, I would not have given it even a chance. I was 42nd coming off the third corner, got wrecked there after a pretty decent start. I felt like my pace with the AMs was going to be quick. I felt like I picked the carb up pretty quick. First race in the series, was hoping to kind of make a good splash, but it's hard to keep the spirits up when you have such a tough incident right off the bat. From there, it was just damage control, and some things happened there at the end that made this possible. I can not even come close to saying this is all me, but it's one of those things where sometimes patience, sometimes just running your laps by yourself, thinking about the big picture. Sometimes it's nice when it pays off. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that feeling well. Sebring is a tough track, and associated with the typical round 1 growing pains of a new season. I think this track was especially brutal. It's difficult to keep control over those bumps, and I'm hearing words from some other drivers that they struggle on cold tires as well.
Oh, most certainly. It was an absolute, bloodbath there in the first lap, and for good reason. I don't think anybody felt totally in control of your car. And the problem is, I think it often comes across as guys being very overly aggressive, making those big lunges. But the reality is, you don't know what you've got until you're in that dirty air. You're in that middle section that was so tough. I mean, this track is great for a season opener for getting to terms with the car because it's very wide open in a lot of places. I mean, you got an airport, front stretch there, and it's great. But once you get in that middle section, it's extremely technical. I found the high curbs were the problem I was having. It was so inconsistent one lap to another what you could push the car to do. I completely agree. It was on the ragged edge, and that's what's fun to drive, but it's what's hard to deal with. And no, cold tires, I don't think there's going to be a track this season more punishing on them than this one was.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of punishing tracks, we go to Montreal for the next round of the season in 2 weeks' time. Slow down city, as it were. So yes. What are your thoughts on that place?
Yeah, it's one of those ones that, similar to my race today, it rewards passiveness. It rewards a confidence in your own line, making sure that you know the boundaries, and being able to push right up to that line and not cross it is going to be huge, especially on the high end, where, as you mentioned, those slowdowns can be so crucial. I think for me, it's one of those tracks. I looked at it on the calendar this season, and I said, I'm Canadian. I have no excuse not to, but I feel like I never run Montreal. It's one of those ones that, new car for me, getting to terms with the Radical here, but also getting to learn a new track. It's fun. I like those new challenges for approach, and I think it's going to be interesting for the race. Much thinner, much less room to work with. I think guys are going to have to adapt a little bit, and I think after today, there's a lot of guys that are going to be wanting to make changes anyway. So I would say this one's a great piece of work today. I'm happy to come away with the win, but I would say for you guys up in the broadcast booth, it'll be a little bit more representative of the pace after the second race at Montreal.
Yeah, indeed. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, Marshall?
Yeah, nice and quick. Just my dad, Marshall Crocker Sr. He's spotting for me this season. Was the one that got interested in the series. He and I have been watching the real life Radicals for a number of years now. So to be on the other side of it, great feeling. A couple friends watching, Alyssa, Nick, Michael, anybody out there tuning in tonight. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you to you guys for doing what you do. It's always a pleasure to get to go back and see what happened, and I'm sure it was a great piece of work. And hopefully this is the start of a long and prosperous series of talking to you guys every week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully catch you next week, Mr. Crocker. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Marshall Crocker Jr. there. And it looks to me as though our next interview, Mike, I'm going to leave it to you to have a chat Racim Fazui, winner of the sprint here, but race 2 did not go his way.
Racim, welcome to the broadcast booth. Like Reese led into, fantastic run in the sprint race, pulling away by almost 4 seconds there at the end. But the start just did not go as planned for here in the feature. What happened on that down that front straightaway?
Well, I'll go in order. Very, very good qualifying, and also just very good first race. Had the pace, although I had a few frame drops, but I'm really happy with this one. And then the start, I will take the blame in terms of reaction time and reacting to a checkup ahead. But it's always unfortunate when people check up when it's green, right? When you're flat out and the 2 cars ahead of you are on the brakes and the flag is waved. The moment I lifted, I was already in the rear bumper. I tried to swerve left and lift. Nothing much I could do, and it's not the best way I want to introduce myself to the league. There's 2 drop races. I'll skip one because I have real life duties. But no, thank you to everybody, Mike, and everybody racing. Very cool group of people. It's just unfortunate that it had to happen this way, and I think we need to revisit starts.
No, it's very unfortunate, but looking forward, like you said, we got 2 drop weeks, so this we'll just pretty much count this as your drop. So looking at the calendar, what do you see up ahead? What is circled on your calendar that you look? Oh yeah, this is my track.
Everything but the track that's around January 28th. I think that I'll approach this season and the mentality that I don't have a specific track. Every track deserves the same amount of care and appreciation. And as long as I know that I get my practice right for every track, the results will drop. So I'm here to enjoy myself and to push hard. And at the end of the day, a good friend of mine said, you hate the track or you hate the car when you're not good at it, right? So if I'm really good at it and I win, there's no reason for me not to like a track.
Absolutely. Racim, while you're up here, anybody want to give a shout out to or thank while we're in the booth with us here?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to VPX Motorsports. I want to, on broadcast, say congratulations to Swelly on his Radical Championship. I wanted him to win this one against Chris McMurray. We had a rough beginning of the season against that guy, but we did it. I also want to thank Advanced Sim Racing with the sponsorship. And I want to thank my family, my girlfriend, my dog, and I want to thank Laval, the city of Laval, because I love my city.
Awesome. You always got to thank the dogs. They're integral part of our racing careers. But thank you for everything you do. Best of luck the rest of the way through the season, and look forward to see you next race in Montreal.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Well, fantastic stuff for Racim Fazui. And now we'll move to George Griffiths, the number 25. A fantastic drive in the second race there, George. Things didn't go your way in race 1, but it looked like a great recovery from you.
Yeah, it really was. Race 1 got taken out in turn 1, but came back to 27th, started 27th for race 2, and made it all the way back up to P3, which I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. I mean, it came down to the pit stop as well. What sort of strategy were you going for in that second race there? Just stick in the slipstream, save fuel, and try and beat your rivals on the lane, or something else up your sleeve?
At the beginning, I was just going to follow what Matt was going to do, but then the lap that I pit, he didn't pit, and I wouldn't have had enough fuel to finish that lap, so I ended up just pitting. And I actually ended up overshooting my pit box, so had to reverse there a bit. But so might have lost a bit of time there.
Regardless, you can stand proud with a podium in a very chaotic second race there. It seemed like a lot of drivers were getting used to the cars again after some time out of them. Plenty of incidents happening all around the circuit. So, yeah, just a case of avoiding those, really.
Yeah, for sure. The start was pretty chaotic, but I just tried to look ahead to see where cars were on track and avoid them as best as possible.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, George. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Shout out to Sim Racing Nation and Majors Esports for having me on their team, and Michael Broomhead for hosting this amazing series.
All right, George Griffiths in the number 25, and our one of our last driver interviews of the night. It's second place in the AM class for race 2. Mike has stood by with the number 77 of Brady Clapham.
Brady Clapham, great job on finishing in that second spot. How was that race for you? I know that lap 1, front straightaway on the feature was pretty chaotic. How did that look for you, and how were you able to get through that?
I mean, I'm not gonna try and expose myself here, but I was able to time it pretty perfectly where I was already flat out before it went green, and once it went green, I had way more momentum than everybody else since I started 38th, right? So I was way far at the back, and that got me. I think I was like 13th or like 15th by turn 1, and then from there it was really terrifying. I can't lie. I don't know if you guys have access to the race replay, but if you go on my onboard, it's pretty hilarious.
You're shaking in your boots while you're going around there. But
oh my God,
great,
yeah.
great run for you. The great finish in P2 in the amateur class. We've got some good races coming up here on the schedule. Do you got anything highlighted that maybe this is going to be my chance to jump up? I mean, sitting 30th on the feature was a little tough start, but anything you look out there and go, oh yeah, that's my track.
I mean, I race Motorsport in real life, so I'm probably thinking Motorsport. That'd be kind of about it right now. I just have to dial in every other track on the sim because I don't play much iRacing apart from this. So, but I mean, apart from that, it was definitely a lot of fun, and looking forward to Motorsport at the end of the season. That's going to be a blast.
Awesome, Brady. Well, congratulations on your P2 finish in the AM class. While you're in the production booth here, you got anybody you want to shout out or give thanks to?
Absolutely. I want to shout out all my guys at Lima Racing, Cedric, John, Matt, Seb, all those boys. Sam, sorry. And then also anybody at Radical Canada, Robert Burgess, Igor, Clay, Kenny Reedman, all those guys. Absolutely love those guys. And I wouldn't be here without those guys. So that's all I got to say.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again, Brady, and look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at Motorsport.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Reese, that was our second place finisher in the AM class. What a crazy race today. And it looks like we got one more interview here in the production booth, Reese.
Yeah, indeed. Our series organizer, Mike Broomhead. Man, Mike, obviously the racing didn't go your way tonight as a driver, but start of a new season. Typical chaos as you'd expect, but strong start for many drivers.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, was there a race on? I didn't quite catch that. I was having too many issues. I did get in for the second race just in time to pile into everybody on the front stretch, so that went really well. But yeah, obviously everybody's raring to go. It's been a bit of a gap since our last championship in the IndyCars during the summer. We've got a lot of new faces. People, obviously they know what the prize is. They know what they're going for. So it's been a bit of a crazy night. Obviously, iRacing have had some, I don't know if it's iRacing specifically, but it seems to be across the board. A few people have had issues tonight. So, obviously we'll get that figured out. We'll come back strong in Montreal when it's a nice, smooth, easygoing track, and see if we can have a better night for a lot of us, and see if we can get through maybe the front stretch next time as well.
Yeah, indeed. I'm looking forward to seeing how many drivers get slowdown penalties at Montreal as well. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Mike, and hopefully you'll have a better time next round, and we'll have a bit of a happier chat.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you so much for you guys, and of course Mike there for jumping in. Zippy's not well at the moment, but he'll be back. And, it's always a good show on Podium. Podium. Oh, my God, I've gone and done it. Pit Road Productions. Right. It's peas, man. It's peas. Yeah, sorry about my slip there. Anyway, Pit Road Productions. Thanks, guys.
It's almost a shame that Zippy isn't here because he would have roasted the hell out of you for that one. Mike Broomhead is going to go back to the interview waiting booth with his tail between his legs as we close this one out. Mike, next up for the Radicals on the 13th of November, yes, we do race at Montreal, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve playing host to round 2. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, then on November 6th, we're going to have Alton Park. We're going to have the F1600s running around there. That should be another exciting race there. Definitely no lack of energy. Anything's going to go on at that track.
Absolutely, and don't worry, next week does have a race on as well. The Formula 1600s coming back for their second round on the 6th of November at 8:30 p.m. ET, right here on Pit Road Productions. Going to be racing at Alton Park in Formula Fords. The first round at Brands Hatch certainly went off, and we stay in the UK for Alton Park. Going to be a massive race. Make sure you mark those dates down in your calendar, November 6th and 13th. Here on Pit Road Productions. A big thanks to everyone for tuning in over the course of this broadcast. A massive shout out to Radical Canada, Robert Burgess and co for lending their support to this series. Once again, if you want to join the M-Zone Radical Cup Canada, you can contact Robert Burgess to get started, robert@radicalcanada.ca. Big thanks as well to Christian Hill behind the scenes for bringing you these live pictures, and Mike Braun for joining me here in the comms box here. I'm Reese Gardner, and we are going to say our goodbyes here on Pit Road Productions. Radical Cup Canada off to an incredible start.
Why Radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.